Commander Cathara pressed her six-fingered hand against the glowing navigation screen aboard the Zephyrian diplomatic vessel Starwind. Her purple eyes studied the star charts with growing confusion. For the third time in an hour, she traced the empty space that surrounded what the aliens called the human zone. "This makes no sense," she whispered to her navigation officer. "Look at these trade routes, Veltan. Every single shipping lane curves around this region. Some ships add 4 months to their journey just to avoid it." Veltan's antennae twitched. Nervously, "Perhaps there are dangerous spatial anomalies, Commander. Black holes or radiation storms." Cathara shook her head. "No. Look at the warnings in our database. They're not about space hazards. They're about the humans themselves." She read from the screen. "Approach with extreme caution. Direct contact not recommended. Maintain minimum safe distance of 50 light years." What did they do to earn such warnings? "That's what troubles me," Cathara said. "No one seems to remember. The warnings exist across every civilization's databases, but the reasons are classified or missing entirely." 3,000 light-years away, Dr. Lisa Monroe sat in her laboratory on the human colony world of New Denver. She was examining soil samples from the planet's northern continent when her communication system started beeping urgently. The sound was strange, coming through on frequencies that human equipment rarely used. Lisa activated the receiver and heard a trembling voice speaking in heavily accented Galactic Standard. "Please, honored humans, I am Captain Jekvar of the merchant vessel Fairwinds. I must traverse the edge of your territory to deliver medical supplies to the civilian populations of Kepler Station. I humble myself before your power and beg permission to pass through your outer systems." Lisa frowned. She had been studying alien communications for 5 years, but this was different. The alien captain sounded terrified. His voice shook as if he were asking permission to walk through a minefield. "I swear by the ancient treaties that my vessel carries no weapons," the captain continued. "My crew consists of only peaceful traders. We will maintain maximum distance from all human worlds and transmit our location every hour. Please, merciful ones, we only seek passage to save lives." The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving Lisa staring at her equipment in confusion. Ancient treaties. What ancient treaties? As far as she knew, humanity had barely made contact with a dozen alien species, and most of those meetings had been friendly trade negotiations. She immediately contacted the Colonial Defense Office. The duty officer, Lieutenant Gary Mills, listened to the recording with growing surprise. "That's the 5th request this month," he told Lisa. "They all sound the same. Terrified aliens asking permission to fly near our space, promising they won't cause trouble. Command doesn't know what to make of it. Have we given them permission? We've tried, but they never wait for an answer. They just broadcast their request and change course to avoid us entirely. It's like they're following some protocol we've never heard of." On Earth, Admiral Jake Phillips was having his own puzzle to solve. He sat in his office at United Earth Command, surrounded by intelligence reports that made no logical sense. Every single report told the same story. Alien civilizations were going out of their way to avoid human space, even when it cost them enormous amounts of time and resources. "Look at this shipping data," he said to his aide, Commander Beth Parker. "The Vegan Trade Consortium has a direct route from their homeworld to the Altair colonies. It's a 3-week journey through human space. Instead, they take a detour that adds 3 months to their trip." "Maybe they don't trust us yet," Beth suggested. "We're still new to galactic politics." "New, yes, but threatening. Look at these intercepts from alien communications." Jake pulled up another file. "They call us the Silent Ones. Some refer to humans as the Sleeping Giants. One intelligence report from the Rigel Syndicate warns their ships to never, under any circumstances, approach human vessels directly." Beth read over his shoulder. "This one says that human space is marked as a quarantine zone on most alien navigation charts. Not because of disease, but because of something they call the Terran Protocol." "The Terran Protocol," Jake repeated. "Our Xenology department has never heard of it. Neither has Colonial Command or the Explorer Corps. If we established Some kind of protocol with alien governments, don't you think we'd remember it? The mystery deepened when Jake accessed the military intelligence networks. Every major alien government had files on humanity that were marked with the highest security classifications. The files were enormous, containing thousands of pages of analysis and strategic assessments. But when human intelligence tried to access them through diplomatic channels, they were told the files were too sensitive to share. It's like they know something about us that we don't know about ourselves, Jake muttered. Back on New Denver, Lisa Monroe couldn't stop thinking about the terrified alien captain. She decided to do some research of her own. Using her scientific credentials, she accessed the Colonial Survey database, which contained records of every human exploration mission for the past 75 years. What she found was strange. Most exploration records were detailed and complete, but there was a gap. 50 years ago, several deep space missions had been classified at the highest levels. The files existed, but their contents were sealed under something called Special Action Authority. Lisa had never heard of Special Action Authority before. When she researched it, she found that it was a classification level that required joint authorization from Earth Command, the Colonial Government, and the Explorer Corps. Only a handful of files in human history had ever received such classification. She contacted her friend Captain Ron Hayes, commander of the exploration vessel New Horizon. Ron was one of the most experienced deep space captains in the colonial fleet, and he had connections throughout the military command structure. Lisa, you're asking about things that make admirals nervous, Ron told her over their secure communication link. I've heard whispers about those classified missions. Something happened out there 50 years ago. Something big enough to change how aliens look at us. What kind of something? I don't know. But I have a friend in naval intelligence, Commander Kate Wilson. She once mentioned that there were alien refugee populations that appeared around 50 years ago. Entire species that suddenly showed up in neutral space, claiming their homeworlds had been destroyed. They wouldn't say what destroyed them, but they all requested to be settled as far from human space as possible. Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. Refugee populations. Millions of them, according to Kate. They were given sanctuary by the Galactic Council, but they all shared the same story. Their worlds had been attacked by something so powerful that it could eliminate entire solar systems. They were the only survivors because they were away from home when it happened, and they blamed humans. They never blamed anyone directly. That's what was strange about it. They just asked to be relocated far from human territory and refused to discuss what had happened to their homeworlds. The Galactic Council agreed, but they also started issuing navigation warnings about human space around the same time. Lisa stared out her laboratory window at the peaceful colonial city below. New Denver was home to 3 million humans who lived quiet lives farming, researching, and building a better future. The idea that her species might be responsible for destroying alien worlds seemed impossible, but the evidence was mounting. Aliens were afraid of humans for reasons that humans themselves didn't understand. Somewhere in their past, humanity had done something that made them the most feared species in the galaxy. And somehow, they had all forgotten about it. The question that kept Lisa awake that night was simple but terrifying. If humans were capable of something that could make entire alien civilizations flee in terror, what exactly were they capable of? And more importantly, were they still capable of it? 2 weeks after her first contact with the terrified alien trader, Dr. Lisa Monroe stood on the bridge of the exploration vessel New Horizon. Captain Ron Hayes had agreed to help her investigate the mystery of humanity's fearsome reputation. Their destination was Trading Post 7, a neutral station that sat exactly 50 light-years from the nearest human colony. According to our intelligence reports, this station processes trade for 12 different alien species, Ron explained as they approached. If anyone can tell us why aliens avoid us, it'll be the traders who work the border regions. Lisa watched the massive space station grow larger on their view screen. Trading Post 7 was a sprawling complex of docking bays, cargo holds, and living quarters that housed nearly 500,000 alien residents. It was built by the Altarian Collective, a peaceful species known for their fair dealing and neutral stance in galactic politics. Captain Hayes, came a voice over the communication system. "This is station control. We show human signatures on your vessel. Please state your intentions." Ron activated the transmitter. "This is Captain Hayes of the human ship New Horizon. We request permission to dock for trade and cultural exchange." There was a long pause. Then the voice returned, sounding strained. "Captain Hayes, I must inform you that this station is entering emergency protocols. All non-essential personnel are being moved to secure sections. We will allow one human representative to board, but they must be escorted at all times and remain in designated areas only." Lisa and Ron exchanged glances. "Emergency protocols for a peaceful trade visit," Lisa whispered. "Station control, we're scientists and explorers, not military personnel," Ron replied. "We're here to ask questions, not cause trouble." "Understood, Captain Hayes. However, Galactic Safety Protocol 77 Alpha requires these precautions when human vessels approach civilian installations. Please dock at Bay 94. It has been cleared and isolated for your visit." As they docked, Lisa noticed something disturbing. Through the station's viewing ports, she could see alien families hurrying through corridors with their belongings. Children clung to their parents while adults spoke in hushed, urgent tones. It looked like an evacuation. The docking bay was empty, except for a small group of station security officers and one figure in diplomatic robes. As Lisa and Ron disembarked, the aliens kept their distance, watching the humans with a mixture of fear and fascination. The robed figure stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Krelnoth of the Altarian Collective. I welcome you to Trading Post 7, though I must admit your arrival has caused considerable concern among our residents." "Ambassador, we're here to understand why our presence causes such fear," Lisa said. "We've discovered that alien civilizations avoid human space, but we don't understand why." Krelnoth's large eyes blinked slowly. "You truly don't know." "Know what?" Ron asked. The ambassador looked around nervously, then gestured for them to follow him. "Come, we must speak privately. What I have to tell you is known only to government officials and senior trade representatives. The general population is not told the details for fear of causing panic." They walked through empty corridors that should have been bustling with activity. Lisa noticed that security doors sealed behind them as they passed, as if the station was trying to contain their movement. Krelnoth led them to a small conference room and activated privacy shields. "Before I begin, I must ask you to understand that what I'm about to tell you comes from official Galactic Council records. These are not rumors or legends, but documented historical events." "We understand," Lisa said. 53 years ago, according to our records, humanity made its first contact with a major galactic power. The species was called the Hegemony Empire. They controlled over 400 star systems and had a military force of more than 50,000 warships. Ron leaned forward. "We have no record of contact with any empire by that name. That is because the Hegemony Empire no longer exists," Krelnoth said quietly. 3 days after making contact with humanity, every single Hegemony vessel, colony, and homeworld simply disappeared. Lisa felt her blood run cold. Disappeared how? That's what makes this so terrifying. They didn't just die or get destroyed. They ceased to exist. Our long-range sensors detected massive energy signatures coming from human space, followed by complete silence from all Hegemony territories. When scout ships investigated, they found empty space where Hegemony worlds had been. No debris, no radiation, no evidence that planets had ever existed there. "That's impossible," Ron said. "Destroying a planet leaves traces. Asteroids, dust, clouds, gravitational effects." "Exactly. Which is why the Galactic Council concluded that humans possess weapons technology beyond anything previously encountered. Weapons that can make entire solar systems simply stop existing." Krelnoth activated a holographic display showing star charts from 50 years ago. This was Hegemony space before human contact. The display showed hundreds of star systems connected by trade routes and communication networks. This is the same region after the incident. The display went completely empty, showing only dark space. The only evidence left behind was a single transmission detected by our deep space monitoring stations. It was broadcast on human frequencies and said simply, Threat neutralized. Returning home. The transmission was traced back to a single human vessel, designation unknown. Lisa stared at the empty space on the star chart. One ship did this. According to our records, yes. One human ship encountered the entire hegemony, military fleet, and eliminated not just the fleet, but the entire civilization. The Galactic Council has spent 50 years trying to understand how this is possible. Our best scientists believe humans have developed weapons that operate outside normal space-time, allowing them to erase matter from existence rather than simply destroying it. Ron was quiet for a long moment. Ambassador, I need to ask you something, directly. Do you believe humans are a threat to galactic peace? Krelnoth's expression was difficult to read. Captain Hayes, in 53 years since the hegemony incident, humans have made no aggressive moves toward other species. You've remained in your own territory, engaged in peaceful trade, and responded to diplomatic contact with courtesy and respect. This confuses us greatly. Why does it confuse you? Because a species with the power to erase entire civilizations from existence should be conquering the galaxy, not farming colonies and conducting scientific research. Your behavior suggests either incredible restraint or that you're unaware of your own capabilities. Both possibilities are equally frightening to other species. Lisa felt sick. So aliens avoid us because they think we might accidentally destroy them. Dr. Monroe, there are species in this galaxy that can destroy planets. There are others that can eliminate star systems. But according to our records, humans are the only species that can make entire civilizations simply stop existing. That level of power makes you either the greatest threat or the greatest mystery in galactic history. The ambassador stood up. I must ask you to leave now. The longer human vessels remain near civilian populations, the more nervous our residents become. Not because they think you'll attack them, but because they fear what might happen if you feel threatened. As they walked back to their ship, Lisa noticed that the station's corridors were still empty. Thousands of aliens were hiding until the humans left. Families were keeping their children away from viewing ports that might show human ships. The fear was real and deep. Ron, we need to find out what really happened 50 years ago, Lisa said as they prepared to undock. I know someone who might have answers, Ron replied. Admiral Phillips mentioned that Earth Command has classified files from that time period. If humans really did eliminate an entire alien empire, there has to be some record of it. But why would it be classified from us? Maybe because whoever authorized it knew that the rest of humanity wasn't ready to learn what we're capable of. As the New Horizon pulled away from Trading Post 7, Lisa watched the station's lights come back on. Normal activity resumed as soon as the human ship was gone. She realized that across the galaxy, this same scene probably played out whenever humans approached alien territory. Entire populations going into hiding until the terrifying humans passed by. The most disturbing part was that the humans themselves had no idea why they were so feared. Somewhere in their past, humanity had become the monster that other species told stories about to frighten their children, and somehow they had forgotten they were monsters at all. Dr. Lisa Monroe walked through the underground archives beneath Earth Command headquarters, her footsteps echoing in the concrete corridors. Captain Ron Hayes followed beside her, while their guide, Dr. Peter Cole, led them deeper into the classified sections of the military records facility. These files have been sealed for 50 years, Dr. Cole explained as they approached a heavily secured door. Even I needed special authorization from 3 different departments just to bring you down here. What you're about to see is known to fewer than 20 people on Earth. The door opened with a soft hiss, revealing a small room filled with data, storage units, and viewing screens. Dr. Cole activated one of the terminals and entered a series of security codes. Project Lazarus, he said quietly. Officially, it never existed. The mission files were classified under Special Action Authority, immediately after completion. Even the families of the crew members were told their loved ones died in a training accident. Lisa felt her stomach tighten. What kind of mission required that level of secrecy? The kind that changed humanity's place in the galaxy, Dr. Cole replied. He pulled up a file labeled Classified Mission Record, Eyes Only. It started with distress signals from the colony world of New Portland. Human settlers there were reporting attacks by an alien military force calling itself the Hegemony Empire. The screen displayed communication logs from 53 years ago. Lisa read the desperate messages from New Portland colonists describing alien ships landing and taking prisoners. The messages spoke of families being separated, children being taken to work camps, and adults being forced into slavery. The Hegemony Empire considered humans to be a primitive species suitable for manual labor, Dr. Cole continued. They had enslaved populations from dozens of worlds. Their standard practice was to conquer developing civilizations and use the survivors as workers for their industrial projects. Ron studied the mission briefing that appeared on screen. It says here that diplomatic attempts to negotiate failed. The Hegemony refused to recognize human sovereignty and demanded that Earth surrender additional colony worlds for processing. That's when Earth Command authorized Project Lazarus, Dr. Cole said. A single ship mission to demonstrate human military capabilities and secure the release of our people. The screen changed to show personnel files. Lisa read the names of 12 crew members led by Captain Helen Torres. The files described them as volunteers for an experimental weapons test mission. Each file was marked with the same notation. Deceased, training accident, family notified. They're not really dead, are they? Lisa asked. No. They're alive, but they live under new identities with complete memory modification. The psychological trauma of what they did was considered too dangerous to leave intact. Dr. Cole activated a video file. The screen showed Captain Helen Torres, a woman in her 30s with short black hair and determined eyes. She was recording a mission log in what appeared to be the captain's quarters of a spacecraft. Mission log, Day 7, Torres said in the recording. We've reached the edge of Hegemony space. Our deep space scans show a massive fleet of over 10,000 vessels. Intelligence estimates suggest this represents the core military strength of the Hegemony Empire. Dr. Kevin Nash confirms that our experimental weapons are ready for field testing. Lisa watched as Torres continued her log. I want to make this clear for the record. We attempted diplomatic contact for 6 days. The Hegemony response was to demand the immediate surrender of all human colonies and the delivery of 1 million human workers for their mining operations. They gave us 12 hours to comply or they would begin systematic destruction of human settlements. The recording paused and Dr. Cole looked at Lisa and Ron gravely. What happens next changed the nature of warfare in this galaxy. He started. The recording again. Torres appeared more tired, her expression grim. Mission log Day 8. Dr. Nash has explained the theoretical effects of the quantum disruption weapons. The technology works by destabilizing matter at the subatomic level, causing a cascade effect that spreads to any connected matter within a defined radius. In simple terms, anything touched by the quantum field simply stops existing. Lisa felt cold. Stops existing how? The recording explains it, Dr. Cole said. Torres continued her log. The weapons don't destroy matter in the traditional sense. They disrupt the fundamental forces that hold atoms together, causing matter to revert to pure energy and then dissipate into space. There's no explosion, no debris, no radiation. The target simply ceases to be, as if it never existed in the first place. The recording showed Torres consulting with her science officer. Dr. Nash warns that the quantum effects might spread beyond our intended targets. The weapons are designed to affect only artificial constructs like ships and stations. But there's a theoretical possibility of cascade effects reaching planetary surfaces if the quantum field becomes unstable. Ron leaned forward. They knew the weapons might be more powerful than intended. Keep watching, Dr. Cole said. The final recording showed Torres looking exhausted and shaken. Mission log final entry. The operation is complete. The Hegemony fleet has been neutralized. All 10,000 vessels simply disappeared. But the quantum cascade didn't stop there. Our sensors showed that the disruption field spread through the Hegemony's quantum communication network, following their subspace channels back to their home systems. Torres paused, and Lisa could see tears in her eyes. We didn't just destroy their fleet. The quantum field followed their communication, links, and destabilized matter throughout their entire civilization. Their homeworld, their colonies, their industrial stations, everything connected to their quantum network. An entire species of 14 billion people just stopped existing. The recording ended with Torres staring directly into the camera. God, help us. We came here to save a few thousand human colonists, and we accidentally committed genocide on a scale never seen in galactic history. The hegemony empire is gone. Not destroyed, not conquered, but erased from existence as if they never lived at all. Dr. Cole turned off the screen. Captain Torres and her crew returned to Earth in shock. The psychological evaluations showed severe trauma from realizing they had eliminated an entire civilization by accident. Earth Command made the decision to classify the mission and modify the crew's memories to prevent them from living with the guilt. Lisa stared at the blank screen. So humans really did develop weapons that can erase entire civilizations. The quantum disruption technology was dismantled immediately after the mission, Dr. Cole said. All research data was destroyed, and the scientists involved were transferred to other projects. Earth Command decided that no human should ever possess that level of destructive power again. But aliens don't know the weapons were destroyed, Ron realized. Exactly. From their perspective, humans demonstrated the ability to eliminate the galaxy's most powerful military empire with a single ship. They have no way of knowing that we were horrified by our own capabilities and immediately abandoned the technology. Dr. Cole pulled up another file. The quantum signatures from the weapons are still detectable in space where the hegemony used to exist. Alien scientists have been studying those signatures for 50 years, trying to understand how human technology works. To them, those quantum scars are proof that humans can unmake matter itself. Lisa felt the weight of the revelation settling on her shoulders. So aliens avoid human space because they think we still have these weapons. More than that, Dr. Cole said. They think we're the kind of species that would use such weapons casually. From their perspective, humans encountered a diplomatic problem and responded by erasing an entire civilization from existence. They can't understand that it was an accident or that we were as horrified as they are. Ron stood up slowly. The galaxy thinks we're monsters because we created something monstrous and used it once. They don't know we destroyed the weapons because we were terrified of what we had done. The irony is that humans became the most feared species in the galaxy, precisely because we have a conscience, Dr. Cole said. Any other species would have used those weapons to conquer their neighbors. We used them once by accident and were so horrified that we erased all traces of the technology. Lisa looked at the files containing the truth about Project Lazarus. What happens now that we know the truth? That depends on what humanity chooses to do with this knowledge, Dr. Cole replied. We can continue to let aliens fear us. We can try to explain what really happened, or we can pretend we never learned the truth at all. The choice would determine not just humanity's future in the galaxy, but whether the human race could live with the knowledge of what they had accidentally become. The leak came from an unexpected source. Zara Vex, a junior technician working in the archives facility, had overheard Dr. Lisa Monroe's conversation with Dr. Peter Cole about Project Lazarus. What she didn't know was that Zara was actually an undercover agent for the Shadowkin Syndicate, a galactic intelligence network that sold information to the highest bidder. Within hours of Lisa's discovery, encrypted messages began flowing across the galaxy. The truth about humanity's quantum weapons spread through alien intelligence networks like wildfire. What had been whispered rumors for 50 years suddenly became confirmed fact with detailed mission logs and technical specifications. On the Kralate homeworld, Chancellor Morden received the intelligence report while attending a routine trade meeting. The blue-skinned leader's four eyes widened as he read the translated human documents describing Project Lazarus. His aide, Minister Telvar, watched nervously as the Chancellor's expression grew more troubled with each page. Send immediate messages to all Galactic Council members, Morden ordered. Emergency session, Priority Alpha. Tell them the humans know what they did 50 years ago. Sir, should we begin evacuation protocols? Not yet. But prepare the fleet commanders for possible emergency deployment. If humans decide to use their quantum weapons again, we need to be ready to protect our civilian populations. Similar scenes played out across dozens of alien worlds. The Vegan Trade Consortium immediately suspended all shipping routes within 100 light-years of human space. The peaceful Altarian collective began moving their border colonies to more distant systems. Even the warlike Rigel Syndicate, known for their aggressive expansion policies, started pulling their military forces back from human territory. On Earth, Admiral Jake Phillips was awakened at 3 a.m. by urgent communications from deep space monitoring stations. His aide, Commander Beth Parker, met him in the Situation Room with troubling reports. "Sir, we're detecting massive fleet movements throughout the local galactic region," Beth reported. "At least 40 different alien civilizations are repositioning their military assets. Most are moving away from our borders, but some appear to be taking defensive positions." Jake studied the tactical displays showing alien ship movements. "How many vessels are we talking about?" "Conservative estimates suggest over 50,000 ships in motion. Everything from cargo freighters to battleships, it's the largest coordinated movement in galactic history." "Any communications intercepts?" "Yes, sir. The aliens are using emergency frequencies and high-priority encryption. Our translation computers are having difficulty, but we're picking up references to something called Terran Revelation and quantum protocols." Jake felt his blood run cold. "They know about Project Lazarus." Before Beth could respond, another alarm sounded. Communications Officer Lieutenant Dan Foster approached with a grim expression. "Admiral, we're receiving a priority transmission from the Galactic Council. Chancellor Mordun is requesting immediate contact with Earth's senior leadership." "Put him through," Jake ordered. The holographic display activated, showing the imposing figure of Chancellor Mordun. The alien leader's usually calm demeanor was replaced by barely controlled tension. "Admiral Phillips," Mordun began, "I am contacting you under the emergency communication protocols established by the Galactic Accords. We have received intelligence indicating that humanity has become aware of the hegemony incident." Jake chose his words carefully. "Chancellor, I'm not sure what you're referring to." "Admiral, please do not insult my intelligence. We know that human scientists have accessed classified files regarding Project Lazarus. We know about Captain Helen Torres and the quantum disruption weapons. The question now is what humanity intends to do with this knowledge." The directness of the alien leader's words caught Jake off guard. "Chancellor, if you know about Project Lazarus, then you know the weapons were destroyed 50 years ago." "According to your records, yes. But Admiral, you must understand the position this puts the galactic community in. For 50 years, we have maintained peace by respecting human isolation. We believed that as long as humans remained unaware of their own capabilities, they would continue to be peaceful neighbors. And now humans know they possess the ability to erase entire civilizations from existence. From our perspective, this changes everything. The quantum signatures we still detect in former hegemony space prove that the technology worked. Whether you still possess functioning weapons is irrelevant. You know how to build them." Jake realized the terrible position humanity had been placed in. "Chancellor, I give you my word that Earth has no intention of using such weapons against any alien civilization." "Admiral Phillips, with respect, your word means nothing in this situation. The hegemony leaders probably gave similar assurances to their neighbors before they began their conquest campaigns. Power of this magnitude inevitably corrupts those who possess it." The conversation was interrupted by another urgent report. Lieutenant Foster approached Jake with disturbing news. "Sir, we're detecting weapons signatures from alien fleets. Multiple civilizations appear to be charging their defensive systems." On the holographic display, Chancellor Mordun's expression grew even more grim. "Admiral, I must inform you that the Galactic Council has activated Defense Protocol 9. This protocol authorizes member civilizations to take preemptive action against species deemed to pose an existential threat to galactic stability." "Are you threatening us, Chancellor?" "I am warning you, Admiral. There are voices in the Council calling for immediate action against humanity. They argue that allowing humans to develop quantum weapons again would be catastrophic for all galactic life. Some species are advocating for a coordinated strike against human space before you can rebuild your capabilities. Jake felt the weight of the situation settling on him. How long do we have? The emergency session begins in 6 hours. I can promise you that the Kraylite Republic will argue for diplomatic solutions, but I cannot speak for other council members. The Rigel Syndicate has already positioned battle fleets at strategic locations. The Vegan Consortium is demanding immediate quarantine of all human space. After the communication ended, Jake immediately contacted President Maria Santos on Earth and Colonial Governor Tom Bradley on Luna. Within an hour, an emergency meeting of Earth's senior leadership was underway. The situation is unprecedented, President Santos said to the assembled officials. We're facing the possibility of war with multiple alien civilizations simultaneously, all because they're afraid of weapons we destroyed 50 years ago. Dr. Lisa Monroe, who had been brought in as an expert on the situation, addressed the meeting via secure link from New Denver. The aliens' fear is understandable from their perspective. They witnessed the elimination of the galaxy's most powerful empire by a single human ship. Even if our current government has peaceful intentions, they can't be sure that future human leaders won't rebuild the quantum weapons. Colonial Governor Bradley raised a crucial point. We have over 200 human colony worlds spread across 50 light-years of space. If the aliens decide to attack preemptively, we can't protect all of them with conventional weapons. What about Captain Torres and her crew? President Santos asked. Are they aware of what's happening? Admiral Phillips consulted his files. The memory modifications were designed to be permanent, but the psychological profiles suggest that extreme stress might trigger partial recall. If we're facing a galactic war, we might need their expertise. Dr. Cole, who had joined the meeting from Earth Command, raised an ethical concern. Madam President, restoring Captain Torres's memories would subject her to severe psychological trauma. She chose memory modification to escape the guilt of accidentally committing genocide. Forcing her to relive that experience could destroy her mentally. But if we don't, President Santos replied quietly, it might destroy humanity physically. The meeting was interrupted by another urgent communication. This time it was from Trading Post 7, where Lisa and Ron had first learned about alien fears. Ambassador Krelnoth appeared on screen, looking more distressed than before. Dr. Monroe, Captain Hayes, I felt I should warn you. The station has received evacuation orders from the Altarian Collective. All civilians in border regions are being moved to secure locations. Military vessels are being deployed to establish quarantine perimeters around human space. How long do we have? Lisa asked. The Galactic Council session will determine humanity's fate. If they vote for military action, the attack could begin within days. I'm sorry, Dr. Monroe. Many of us hoped this day would never come. As communications ended, the reality of the situation became clear. Humanity had accidentally become the galaxy's ultimate weapon 50 years ago. Now they faced a terrible choice: reveal their peaceful intentions and hope for mercy, or prepare for a war against civilizations that had spent half a century preparing for this moment. The irony was bitter. Humans had destroyed their most powerful weapons because they were horrified by their own capacity for destruction. Now that same moral conscience might lead to their extinction at the hands of species who could never understand that sometimes the most dangerous civilizations are the ones that choose not to use their power. Captain Helen Torres stood in the medical bay of Earth Command, her hands shaking as Dr. Sarah Kim prepared the memory restoration procedure. At 78 years old, Torres had lived a quiet life as a retired teacher, completely unaware of her role in galactic history. Now, with alien fleets positioning for possible attack, humanity needed the knowledge locked away in her modified memories. Captain Torres, President Maria Santos said gently, you volunteered for this procedure because you understand what's at stake. But I want you to know that you can still change your mind. No one will blame you for choosing to keep your peaceful memories. Torres looked at the assembled officials in the medical bay. Admiral Jake Phillips, Dr. Lisa Monroe, and several other senior leaders waited for her decision. Through the viewing window, she could see Earth's orbital defense platforms, preparing for possible conflict. Dr. Kim explained what I'll remember, Torres said quietly. 50 years ago, I led a mission that accidentally destroyed an entire alien civilization. The guilt was so severe that I chose to forget. But if those memories can help save humanity from war, then I have to remember. I can't let other people die because I chose to forget my mistakes. Dr. Kim activated the neural restoration device. Torres closed her eyes as 50 years of suppressed memories began flooding back into her consciousness. The process took only minutes, but Torres emerged from it looking decades older, her face marked by the return of terrible knowledge. The hegemony, she whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. 14 billion people. We were trying to save a few thousand human colonists, and we erased an entire species from existence. Dr. Lisa Monroe stepped forward. Captain Torres, I'm sorry you have to relive this, but we need to understand exactly what happened. The aliens think humans still possess quantum weapons. They're planning to attack us because they're afraid we'll use them again. Torres wiped her eyes and straightened her shoulders with military discipline. Dr. Monroe, the quantum disruption technology was completely dismantled after our return. Every component was destroyed, every research file deleted. We made sure that no human could ever build those weapons again. But aliens don't know that, Admiral Phillips said. From their perspective, we demonstrated the ultimate weapon, and then went silent. They've spent 50 years wondering when we would use it again. Then we have to show them the truth, Torres said firmly. We have to prove that humans chose to destroy the most powerful weapons in galactic history, because we couldn't live with what we had done. President Santos received an urgent communication from the United Nations Security Council. The emergency session had lasted 18 hours with world leaders debating how to respond to the galactic crisis. The decision they reached would determine humanity's future among the stars. We've reached a consensus, President Santos announced to the assembled group. Earth will implement what we're calling the Terra Doctrine. Complete transparency about Project Lazarus, full disclosure of the quantum weapons program, and demonstration that the technology was permanently destroyed. Dr. Monroe looked concerned. Madam President, revealing military secrets to alien governments is unprecedented. We'll be showing them our technological capabilities and our defensive vulnerabilities. Dr. Monroe, the alternative is war with civilizations that have been preparing to fight us for 50 years. Our only chance for peace is to prove that we're not the monsters they think we are. Captain Torres stepped forward. I want to address the Galactic Council personally. Let me tell them what really happened. Let me explain that humans were so horrified by our own weapon that we immediately destroyed it and tried to forget it ever existed. 3 days later, the human diplomatic vessel Harmony approached the neutral meeting station where the Galactic Council was holding its emergency session. Dr. Lisa Monroe served as Earth's chief scientific representative, while Captain Ron Hayes commanded the escort vessels that accompanied the diplomatic mission. The meeting station was surrounded by alien warships from dozens of civilizations. Weapons were powered down as a gesture of respect for the diplomatic process, but the message was clear. If negotiations failed, humanity would face the combined military might of half the galaxy. Inside the council chamber, representatives from 43 alien civilizations waited as the human delegation entered. Chancellor Morden of the Kraylite Republic called the session to order, his 4 eyes focused intently on the human representatives. We are here to address the crisis created by humanity's possession of quantum disruption technology, Morden announced. The human delegation has requested permission to present evidence regarding their current capabilities and intentions. Captain Torres stepped to the center of the chamber, her elderly frame somehow commanding respect from the assembled alien leaders. Honored representatives, my name is Helen Torres. 53 years ago, I commanded the vessel that eliminated the hegemony, Empire. A ripple of tension went through the chamber. Several alien representatives activated personal defense fields, while others leaned forward with intense curiosity. I am here to tell you the truth about what humans call Project Lazarus, Torres continued. We did not set out to destroy an entire civilization. We went to rescue human colonists who had been enslaved by the hegemony. When diplomatic solutions failed, we used experimental weapons that were far more powerful than we understood. Torres activated a holographic display showing the complete mission logs from Project Lazarus. The aliens watched in silence as the human crew's horror and guilt became apparent in the recordings. As you can see from these records, my crew and I were devastated by what we had accidentally done. The quantum weapons worked beyond our worst nightmares, erasing not just the hegemony fleet but their entire civilization. We returned to Earth and recommended that the technology be completely destroyed. Dr. Monroe joined Torres at the center of the chamber. The human government agreed with Captain Torres's recommendation. Every component of the quantum disruption system was dismantled. Every research file was deleted. The scientists who developed the technology were reassigned to peaceful projects. But you retain the knowledge to rebuild such weapons, interrupted Commander Zekthor of the Rigel Syndicate. What prevents humans from constructing them again when you decide to expand your territory? Captain Torres looked directly at the Rigel commander. Commander, what prevents us is the same thing that made us destroy the weapons in the first place. Humans have a conscience. We cannot live with the knowledge that we possess the power to erase entire civilizations from existence. That is precisely what makes you so dangerous, Zekthor replied. A species with such weapons and no moral restraints would be predictable. A species that claims moral restraints while possessing ultimate power is far more frightening. Dr. Monroe stepped forward with another holographic display. Commander Zekthor, we're prepared to prove our commitment to peace. These are the complete technical specifications for the quantum disruption technology. We're sharing this information with the Galactic Council so that your scientists can verify that no such weapons currently exist in human space. The chamber erupted in surprised murmurs. No civilization had ever voluntarily shared their most advanced military technology with potential enemies. Chancellor Morden called for order. Dr. Monroe, are you saying that humans are willing to allow alien scientists to inspect your military facilities and verify the absence of quantum weapons? Yes, Chancellor. Moreover, we're proposing the establishment of permanent monitoring stations in human space, staffed by representatives from Council member civilizations. These monitors would have full access to our research facilities and early warning systems to detect any attempt to rebuild quantum weapons. Ambassador Krailnoth of the Altarian Collective spoke for the first time. Such transparency is unprecedented in galactic history. But how can we be certain this isn't an elaborate deception? Captain Torres smiled sadly. Ambassador, if humans wanted to deceive you, would we reveal the existence of our most powerful weapons and then invite you to verify their destruction? The quantum disruption technology could have remained secret forever. We're telling you about it because we want you to understand that humans chose peace over power. The debate continued for hours, with alien representatives struggling to understand human motivations. Finally, Chancellor Morden called for a recess to allow private consultations among the member civilizations. When the session resumed, Morden addressed the human delegation with a mixture of confusion and cautious respect. Captain Torres, Dr. Monroe, the Council has reached a preliminary decision. We find your testimony difficult to understand but apparently sincere. A species that would voluntarily destroy ultimate weapons because of moral concerns is unique in our experience. What does that mean for relations between humans and the galactic community? Dr. Monroe asked. It means, Dr. Monroe, that we are willing to accept human monitoring proposals and establish formal diplomatic relations. However, the galaxy will be watching humanity very carefully. Your species has demonstrated both the capacity for ultimate destruction and the moral restraint to reject such power. Both qualities make you unlike any civilization we have encountered.